The reason I draw your attention to that is because some of the things that are being addressed in this letter by the Apostle Paul are still things that we're dealing with today in our times. And what I want you to see is that 50 years after Jesus was raised from the dead, there were issues in the church. There were problems in the church. So there were still people technically who were alive, who saw Jesus raised from the dead when Paul penned this epistle. The purpose of this book is the supremacy and the sufficiency of Christ. Paul wrote this epistle because there was a threat to the church at Colossae. In my mind, the threat really consisted of three things. Number one, the deity of Christ was being questioned because false teachers had infiltrated the church and they were saying that Jesus is less than God, that Jesus is not God. How many of you know that's still an argument today? That kind of stuff is still going on today. There are still people who question the deity of Jesus. The second part of the threat was legalism. You had Judaizers who were Jewish Christians who were telling Gentile converts they had to do certain things in order to really belong to the Lord. They needed to be circumcised. So you've got legalism. And then the third part of the threat was this. These false teachers were saying that there was this secret knowledge. There was a secret knowledge attainable only to a select few in the faith. It was called Gnosticism. And Gnostics basically believe that because God is holy, He couldn't create material world. And so He had to have somebody lesser like angels or someone else had to actually make the world. But God Himself didn't do it. And actually, the way to salvation is not just faith in Christ, but it's through knowledge. They exalt knowledge. They camp at the tree of knowledge rather than the tree of life. And so that was Gnosticism. And this whole thing is known as, by theologians, what we call the Colossian heresy. The Colossian heresy. And that is why Paul is going to address these things in these 4 chapters. The second reason this book is important to you and I today is it answers the 2 most basic questions that every human being has. Who am I and why am I here? Who am I? Why am I here? Paul's going to address and give the answer to both of those questions in the text that we'll be reading this morning.